game to play to make me feel this way. What a wicked thing to do to make me dream of you.
Well, hello viewers, it's James Kalm, the guy on the bike, and today we're at the New Museum and we're going to look at an exhibition by Hilma of Klint, and this exhibition is actually within a larger exhibition called The Keeper. Let me just read a little bit from the wall text. Hilma of Klint experienced visions as a child and later became interested in spiritualism after the death of her sister in 1880. In 1896, her interest in the supernatural became central to her artistic life when she and four fellow female graduates of the Royal Swedish Academy of Fine Arts formed an occult group called the Five. The women believed they could communicate with otherworldly beings called the Higher Masters, who sent them messages through autonomic drawings and writing. This is from a series called The Dove. This is Dove 1, and I believe this is about 5 foot square. You can see there's a double helix in the middle of it. Now, Hilma of Klint was a mystical painter, and so she did a lot of paintings that have alchemical and astrological signs in it. I think that's Virgo. What they didn't know is that Hilma was actually doing these paintings under the influence of what she called her hidden masters. She and a group of other female painters at the Stockholm Academy got together, and every Friday night for about 20 years they would have seances, and Hilma actually started doing these paintings during that period. One of the great things about looking at these paintings and how they've aged is this big gray central orb was all metallic silver, and you can still get some glints of that when you look at it. As I was saying, people didn't realize it, but Helma was actually one of the pioneers of abstract art. She's got certain things that she repeats, basic geometric forms of circle, triangle, squares. The thing I like about the work is that she's very, very painterly. I was interested in this seam at the top. It's wonderful to see these works and how they've been restored. One of the enigmas about Helma is that she did these paintings, and aside from the 4 or 5 women that were part of their seance group, these paintings remained secret. And at one point she was very much influenced by Rudolf Steiner, and she invited him to come by and look at them, and he kind of disagreed with what she was doing, and so she stopped painting for 4 or 5 years. This is another wonderful piece. This is from the Swan series. I think this is Swan 23. A lot of the work is dealing with dualities, various esoteric philosophies. I like this. You've got this section in here where the paint is much more built up. Also, I think it's interesting that a lot of this looks like it was open canvas. Those lower corners were actually gold metallic paint that's kind of oxidized. This is another nice, simple, almost minimalistic piece, kind of an isometric cube. And those, what look like yellow ochre lines, are actually metallic gold. I like the details because you can see where she's kind of made some corrections, thickened lines up. That little black line on the side of the gold is interesting, gives it kind of a 3-dimensional read. Oh, she had a little fudge there she had to straighten out. Also, I think it's interesting to think about her use of color and some kind of spiritual meaning to various colors. This is a beautiful example of what I was saying, a very simple form, white circle on a black background, and then you've got the yellow, blue, and pink sections. And I love the way that the flat areas of color are so beautifully dried, and you get a real nice sense of her touch, and the way that she was applying the paint is very urgent, and she wasn't taking a lot of time to get a perfect surface, but that sort of gives you a feel of how she was working them. Here again we've got our circle, triangles, Triangles outlined by red, yellow, and blue. Burst form in the middle. And a lot of this is dealing with, like I was saying, the duality of male versus female. Also, there's a lot of almost expressionistic brushwork. It's all pretty controlled, but within that framework, the geometric forms and things, there's a lot of really nice and juicy brushwork going on. She's a very subtle colorist. So here again, we've got the two circles. We've got the triangles with the color wheels in there. The upper one is kind of the clear color, and it's almost as if it was reflected in a dark mirror in the lower section. Now, as I was doing this, I didn't know whether they were going to come up and shut me down or not. The guard was pretty tolerant and let me go through here pretty much uninhibited. This is one of the more impressive paintings, I thought. You get a nice sense of her kind of open brushwork, and it almost looks like it was on raw canvas. And then you've got like a little detail in the middle that's beautifully painted. And I was very interested in the way that they have remounted this. You can sort of see the original canvas has then been laminated onto another canvas panel. That open brushwork like that is beautiful. And again, you see her contrasting these yellow bars versus the blue bars, with the rainbow colors with the black and white spiral coming out there, an isometric cube. It's a wonderful piece. And it's also interesting to note that although she was using very similar motifs of circle, square, triangle, she was able to get so many various ways of using brushwork and mixing up the format. This particular form is also beautiful. And I was wondering what these little yellow and blue things look like. I'm not sure, some kind of symbol, maybe it's some kind of letters, GP, I'm not sure. There's a video playing in the background, that's what that sound is. About this time, the guard comes up to me, says he's worried about the people downstairs watching on the security monitors.
No, I think that's enough. We have people downstairs watching, monitor, seeing everything you're doing, and it looks like if I'm not doing my job.
Okay. I came back about half an hour later after visiting the rest of the Keeper show, which is excellent. Here again, we've got this repeated format of this hexagonal form. And again, these cubes inside this kind of horn shape, they were also metallic at one point, metallic gold. You know, the color that she uses is so wonderful. And as I was saying, because it's dry, you really get an appreciation for that kind of flat color. And again, very simple format. But I was looking at these surfaces and thinking, there are a lot of people working today that this could make them envious. Here and there you see a few drips, even some pencil lines. But they were saying that she was doing these almost, maybe not in a total trance, but very much unplanned. I mean, she would directly go on there. She wouldn't rework them. She pretty much had an idea of what she wanted to express, and theoretically was receiving these messages from higher sources. Again, we're going to look at the seams where they've restretched and mounted these canvases. I find that fascinating. Around this time, she abandoned the academic tradition she had studied and devoted herself completely to making occult artworks. Many of her works from this time are vibrantly hued abstractions imbued with alchemical and zodiac symbolism. Though she produced over 1,000 paintings in her lifetime, Alf Klint kept her work private and stipulated in her will that they remain hidden from public view until 20 years after her death. When they were finally revealed in the 1960s, Alf Klint was at last recognized as an independent pioneer of abstract art. Well, I'll correct the wall text and say that it was 1986 in an exhibition at the LA County Museum titled The The Spiritual and Abstraction. It was curated by Maurice Tuckman, which is when Hilma Klint got her big break. Now, I have seen this piece reproduced dozens of times, and it doesn't get much simpler than that, but this is an example of just how wonderful she was making her paintings. The other thing that's interesting is that she plays with these large, very interesting dramatic forms, and then every now and then you've got these tiny little elements. She's got a little fudge line there. This is James Kalm reporting on Hilma Klint here at the new museum within the larger show, The Keeper. Say it with me, folks. Thank you, Kate.
I don't know the rest of it.
That was good.
Thank you so
You
much.
got a heck of a voice. What's your name?
Ellis.
Ellis.
Like the island.
Thanks, Ellis.
Yeah, of course.